everybody, and welcome back to Bravo Bassin. So today I want to tell you a little story. I want to tell you how I got my two boats. I have a 10-foot John boat and have a 21-foot Proline fishing boat that I just recently acquired, and I just want to tell you how I got it. And I will tell you a little bit about buying used boats and what to look for and what to do and what not to do, and how I learned some things kind of the hard way. First thing I'm going to do is kind of show you the boats, and then I'll tell you about how I got each one of them, and I will tell you kind of the pros and cons of what happened when I got the boats and what I had to do to get them to where they could actually go on the water. So let me grab this camera, and I'm going to walk you guys over here, so hopefully you can still see me in the frame. But we're going to walk over here, and this right here, if you look down here, hopefully you can see that. That's my little 10-foot John boat stuff. So we'll zoom down here for you. And that's kind of what it looks like right now. Got my trolling motor in the back, and I actually use that trolling motor on the big boat too. And back there in the back is some life vest, and that's my live well, which goes on the big boat. Turns out that the big live well does not fit in my little John boat like I thought it was going to, so I have to build another one, but that's okay. I'm a catcher and release guy anyway. So this is my little John boat, 10-footer. It's really good for fishing by myself. You could put 2 adults in it, but I don't necessarily recommend that. I've seen guys do that. They're not quite as stable. I mean, I stand up in it. It's all good. And then over here, if you look over here, is my nice Proline boat that I got right here. We're going to walk over here. You can check out my boat. That's a different trailer than the boat came with, because the trailer that it came with was a piece of junk and I had to replace it. So I had to spend a bunch of money to get a new trailer. This is my new boat. Just got it. Finally getting it all set up and registered and doing a lot of work on it. Fortunately, it's new to me. It's a used boat, but kind of what it looks like. It's actually an open bow up front, so you can actually walk around and get up here and fish, which is really nice. I like that. It's pretty cool. It also has a nice cabin, so if I climb up on the boat right here, I'm gonna step up right here, get on the boat, and if you come over here, it's got a nice little cubby cabin. Pop this top, open the door, look down in there. I use it for storage, but you could put some padding in there, pillows, whatever, and turn it into some place you can sleep. I mean, it's my storage area for the rest of my gear, oil and stuff for the boat, supplies, medical equipment, all that good stuff. So there you go. So that's pretty much it. Back deck, that's where my live well is usually at. And there you go. So now we're gonna talk about the do's and don'ts of kind of what I went through of getting this boat, and you know, maybe you guys will learn something from it. Maybe you won't make some of the mistakes that I did, and you'll be able to get a decent boat and get it out on the water. The story of my little 10-foot John boat that I got over there is that I actually used to play in bands, and I played guitar all my life throughout. Even being in the military, I still played when I could, when I wasn't deployed. And I've slowly been selling off a lot of my music gear because I don't play that much anymore. It's been harder for me to do since my injuries and being medically retired. So I kind of been selling off. So I sold a guitar and found a guy on eBay that was selling well, not eBay, on Craigslist, that was selling a 10-foot John boat for 250 bucks. I just wanted a little boat that'd get me on the water. So I went over there. He was an old rancher that was selling off his stuff. He sold his ranch and he was retiring, and his wife and him were moving to Florida, and got this really nice little John boat. It's in really great shape and floats really well, but the problem with it was he had no title for it. Now, for those of you that don't know, there's a lot of people out there that sell boats that don't have titles, and they'll tell you, like here in the state of Virginia, I see a lot of people post that, oh, you just have to fill out 2 pieces of paper and you can get a new title and go on your merry way. Well, that is not true. And every state is different for how that lost title or stolen title or however that goes. And the reason why they want a title is to make sure that you didn't steal the boat. So what ended up happening was, I would just come back to Virginia. I didn't know a whole lot about how that all worked. Figured, you know, there's all these people saying it was simple, and so I figured I would just get the boat. He bought it and had 2 ponds to fish on his property, so he never went anywhere. I wanted it to be actually fished on public lakes, so I needed to get it titled. So I contact Fish and Game, and lo and behold, there's a lot more that goes on than just filling out 2 pieces of paper. The 2 pieces of paper are the start of a pile of paperwork you're going to do, because you not only have to fill out the forms and download them for actually applying for the title, but you also have to fill out a form that you have to find. I had to send them a form that they sent me to find the original owner, who's the last person that actually had the boat titled. And then it costs you $5 to do that, and then they will send you they'll either email you the information or they will send a hard copy. I had them do both. And then you have to take that and you have to send it as a certified letter to the last person that had the boat titled, with this letter in it stating that you now have the boat, this is who you bought it from, and do they have the title, and there's any way you can get it to. If not, they need to tell you that they don't have it, and they need to send a letter back. Now, if they don't respond, which a lot of people have sold boats and don't respond because they've moved by then, if they don't respond, it takes 45 days. And with that certified letter, after 45 days, if you haven't heard anything back, then you can take that certified piece of paper that you have from sending the letter, you can send in the other forms that you have to fill out through Fish and Game, and then you can end up getting a title. It ended up being about a dozen pieces of paper I had to fill out, some mailing back and forth, and then I actually had to drive down to the Fish and Game office, which for me is in Richmond, Virginia, down in Henrico area, and I had to go get it done, and I was able to get it titled and registered, but it was a hassle. I mean, it was a lot of work. Fortunately, the original owner was still living there. He sent me a letter back, which helped a lot. And I also make sure you always, no matter what you buy, if you're buying a used boat, get a bill of sale. It doesn't matter if it's handwritten or anything. You want the name of the person you're buying from, how much you bought it for, the date you bought it, where you bought it at, and you want him to sign it and you sign it, and makes you have it. And so the next thing you need to do, now that we're going through the whole mess of what you have to do if they don't have the title, the other thing you need to look at is to make sure that they have actually gone and titled the boat in their name, so the boat's in their name and it's not in somebody else's name, and they're just doing what they call title jumping here in Virginia. Now you can't do that, and I had this happen with the trailer I bought. So let's move on to what I went through with my big Proline boat. So when I bought my big Proline boat, I used to own Harleys and I used to ride all the time, but after I was injured in Iraq, I wasn't really able to ride much anymore. My injuries prevent me from riding. Could only ride for about an hour. It was very painful. So I decided to sell my bike, and so I put it up for sale, but I also put up there, I said that I would trade for a boat. And what ended up happening was a guy down in West Point contacted me with this Proline that I'm sitting in now, and he said he was willing to trade. So I drove, that's about 2.5 hour ride for me, drove all the way down there, hauled my bike down there, got there towards the evening, looked at the boat. I liked the boat, but it was getting dark. I couldn't really see the trailer too well. But the boat, you can't really, one of the things you want to do is, if it's all possible when you're looking at boats, if there's any way they can meet you on the water where you can actually see the boat run, that's a good thing. Or if there's any way they can put the motor in a big barrel and run it for you so you can see the boat starts up, that's another way you can do it to make sure it's running. Unfortunately for me, was not able to do that. And so they fired it up real quick so I could see it started. And the boat was in pretty decent shape. I liked it. It's really nice and big. It's roomy. I can fit several people on here and got a lot of room to fish. So I decided to get it. But one of the things I couldn't do is I couldn't really see a whole lot of the trailer because it's in a bunch of tall weeds. So I kind of did a walk around. It was getting dark out. And the first thing that I ran into was the fact that the wiring was too short. So here I am. I got this big boat I just traded my motorcycle for, and I actually had to cut and splice and create a wiring harness out of stuff I could just find at this guy's shop so I could wire it up and get it home. And the next thing that happened is that you have a title for the boat and a registration for the boat, and then you have a title for the trailer. So there's two different things. So the title for the boat he had gotten in his name, and it was already done. So all I had to do was sign as the purchaser, do all that stuff, and we're good to go, and then I take it down and get it redone. But he hadn't done that with the trailer yet. And the trailer, he'd already signed where you signed for the purchaser, but he hadn't put it in his name. Now he told me, again, don't know all the Virginia law, so I'm trusting these people to tell me. He told me all I would do is draw a line through his name and I could sign it. Well, it turns out that is not true at all. So the way it works is that if you buy something, whether it's car, whatever, trailer, boat, or whatever, and you're just planning on reselling it and you don't want to go spend the money for the titles and taxes on it and stuff, do not sign where it says purchaser's signature. Don't do it, because if you do that and then you try to resell it, you can't. It's actually a federal law. It's a federal law. So when you buy something, you actually have to go register it and get it in your name before you can turn around and resell it. And there's a lot of people out there that don't do it, but I found out the hard way that you have to get this done. So what happened to me is that as we were pulling the boat back, the trailer started having some issues, and we got it to a really lit area and saw that the trailer is really in bad shape. So we limped it all the way back 2.5 hours, and I decided to buy a new trailer for it. And so I found a new trailer down in Roanoke, another 2.5 hour drive for me. I get down there, the guy that's selling it to me is not even there, his wife's there, and long story short, everything looks good. I think it's his name on the title and he signed it. Well, it turns out the person that's name's on the title was the original owner, and then they'd already title skipped this boat 3 times, where people that had gotten the, I mean not the boat, they title skipped the trailer 3 times, and nobody had bothered to put it in the name. So by the time I got it, it was on the 4th title skip. The original guy that bought the boat from the original owner had signed it, and so I ended up having to track down that guy. And fortunately, I was able to do that and track down the guy who had signed it. And I had to drive all the way back to Roanoke and meet him and go to the jon.b. And he had to title it in his name first, and then after he did it, then we titled it in my name. So he had to pay a title fee, and it would have been a lot cheaper if he'd have titled it years ago, because he ended up paying a bunch of money for the taxes and everything on that trailer. And then I titled it and redid it, and we finally got it all straightened out, but it was a big mess. So make sure that when you're getting these things and you're buying used stuff, make sure that the titles are in the person's name, and make sure that somebody else hasn't signed down by the purchaser, because that title is void, and that person that is signed down there is going to have to go get it titled and then sign it over to you. It's a big hassle, so to save yourself a bunch of trouble, make sure that those things that you're buying are titled in their names, and make sure that the paperwork's right. And if you're not sure, then find out first before you buy it, because I went through a lot and it cost me a lot of money to finally get a decent trailer on this boat and get things done and get it all situated. And it was a lot of work. I mean, it was a lot of work, and you don't want to have to go through that. And hopefully, you know, if you're out buying used boats like I did, you know, I was fortunate enough to be able to do this. Hopefully that you have somebody with you that knows more about boats and knows a lot about boats that can help you along to look at things and make sure that, because I've had to clean up my boat and I've had to do little things here and there to get this big boat to where it's ready to go in the water. And it's one of those things. And I think, you know, Justin Rackley said it best, Lake Fork guy. He said that, you know what boat stands for? It says break out another 1,000. And that is pretty true. You're going to put money into it. You know, the only thing you're getting back out of it is enjoyment, which I do enjoy it. So that's why I went ahead and got them. But really just make sure you got all your ducks in a row when you do it. I mean, used stuff is really hard. Some people take really good care of it and other people don't. And so kind of know what you're looking for, you know, and checking things out. And the main things you want to make sure is that the boat floats, the motor runs, and then electrical, if you have electrical, you got big motors and stuff, that it's in decent shape, so it's going to last you a little while. And you know, it's been a learning curve for me, because, you know, this is my first big boat, so I'm learning about it. And, you know, it's not the super all great boat, but, you know, it gets me out on the water and gets me fishing. It's got room for my friends and family to go out. You know, we can take it out on a fun day. You know, I have a seat that goes back there that's actually a live well as well, so I can have some extra people, extra seating. And I enjoy it. So, you know, hopefully this helps you guys out when you're buying boats. Don't make the mistakes that I did. You know, really do your research on the boats that you're looking at. You know, fortunately, I researched this boat, and, you know, price-wise, the motor alone was worth what my motorcycle was worth at the time. So it kind of worked out for me, and hopefully it works out for you guys. Again, you know, I really, you know, now that I've got this bigger boat and stuff, once I start getting some subscribers on my channel, I'm going to start doing some fishing trip giveaways where you guys can come down to Virginia. I'll take you out on the boat if you want to. I mean, basically how that's going to work is that, you know, I'm going to pick a subscriber, you know, once a month, once every couple months, invite you to come down, and you can come down and I'll take you out on Lake Anna, which is about 45 minutes, hour from me. Really big lake, got a lot of good fishing. You can striper fish, walleye, largemouth. I mean, just really nice big lake, and just a lot of fun. And hopefully I can start doing that. And I look forward to doing that, because I want to meet a lot of people that are into fishing. I enjoy fishing with other people that are excited about it. To me, the reason I got into fishing is because it was a love of being outside. I started fishing when I was a kid. I stopped for a long time after I joined the military. I was doing a lot of other stuff, and after I retired, I didn't know what I was going to do. I struggled with some PTSD issues, and I got back into fishing, and fishing really has helped me with that, and so now I want to be able to pass it on to other people that are going through things. I mean, fishing's a great way to get out and relax. It's a great way for me to spend time with my son, and I want to be able to share that. And for those of you that don't have access to a boat to be able to get out on the water, I want to be able to offer that to you guys and be able to have some people come out and actually get on the water and fish on a big boat and have some fun and see what it's like instead of, because I've bank fished for a long time, and now that I've got some boats and I can get out on the water, I want to be able to get some other people out on the water with me, because I enjoy fishing with somebody. You know, I enjoy it a lot more than fishing by myself. You know, I like fishing by myself. It's nice to have the company. So anyway, do me a favor, you know, hit the like and subscribe button down there, and give me a shout. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm just learning how those things work, so bear with me on that stuff. And get your lines wet, get out there and fish, and shoot me a message. If you guys live in around the Charlottesville area, Charlottesville, Virginia, Richmond area, live near Lake Anna, want to get out, shoot me a message, because I go out and fish all the time, and hit me up, and I'll be happy to hit you up, and we can meet up and we'll go do some fishing together. You know, so you guys take care, and I'll see you soon.